Good morning, Peterborough. My name is Jim Tubb, and it is time for your Sports Break broadcasted through the facilities here of Trent Radio on 92.7C, Triple FM here in Peterborough, Canada. This show can be streamed online, of course, at trentradio.ca, or you can follow what we're talking about on Twitter at SportsBreakTR. The weather outside today is a little chilly, nothing too crazy right now here in Peterborough. It's about -4 with a wind chill of -10. At least that's what I'm getting told here by the screen in front of me. A little bit of snow. They were calling for like 10 to 15 centimeters last night. And I was like, ooh, nice little snow day. Not that I need a snow day. It's just, I'm not in high school. Although I kind of miss the snow day. It was the best part of high school and grade school, I would say, is the honor of having a snow day. We don't really get it in university because, I also don't want to, you pay for the class, so you don't really want to miss too many classes because I never skip class, Mom. But I know back home in Mitchell, West Perth, Ontario, exams, they're canceling exams because the weather's so bad. Stay safe. I guess everyone listening to this, whether you're driving, rocking or rolling, whatever you're doing, just stay safe and enjoy the weather. Enjoy the show. Because although it's crappy out wherever you are, if school is canceled or not, if you're here and it's a little chilly, the snow, roads are all right, it's a little chilly, it's still a beautiful day to talk about sports, ladies and gentlemen. I challenge you to find me a bad day to talk about sports. I don't think that's possible. That's just me, though. And yeah, if you can find one, you're wrong. Simple as that. In the NHL, sorry, that's my phone going off. No one really cares about that. The NHL the past couple of days, there have been some little spicy little trades. We'll get to the Leafs one last night. Of course, Leafs acquiring Jake Muzzin from the LA Kings for some prospects in a pick. Nothing too crazy. Doesn't hurt the NHL roster. It just makes it that much better. Another trade yesterday was the Dallas Stars acquired defenseman Jamie Alexiak from the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for a 2019 fourth-round pick. Jamie Alexiak, you might be thinking, that last name's familiar. He is the older brother of Penny Alexiak, the Canadian swimmer who stole Canada's heart when she won the gold in, that would have been the 2016 Olympics? Yeah, 2016 Olympics. And, right, because 2018 was, 2016. When she stole everyone's heart by winning. So, for the Penguins, they are losing a defenseman who kind of was really good on the team. They got him from Dallas. They got him from Dallas. It's kind of funny, actually. The pick that Pittsburgh is getting is the same pick that Pittsburgh sent to Dallas to acquire Jamie Alexiak. So it's almost like the deal never happened, except for Dallas. They are getting back a player that's better now because he got to train with Sergei Gonchar. Sergei Gonchar with the Penguins is their defensive coach, and he's really he's helped a lot of players like Justin Schultz get better, Jamie Alexiak. He's trying to work with Jack Johnson now. It's kind of a puzzle. I'm puzzled by it for the Penguins. I don't understand that, trying to clear cap room and room for when Justin Schultz comes off of IR, maybe, and maybe they're going to make some deadline deals. Who knows? That's the Penguins right now. They're also thinking of trading. They're trying to trade Derek Brassard. It's a team to watch as the deadline gets closer. As the trade deadline gets closer. This past weekend, if you watched the NHL, it was the NHL Allstar game. For me, I'm going to be completely honest. I can't really care enough about the All-Star. Or, sorry, that's a weird statement. I don't really care at all about the NHL All-Star game. It's just not important to me. It's gimmicky. Yeah. I find it's more for little kids. That's fine. The NHL needs that. That's their market. They should advertise to. But the Metropolitan Division did win the 2019 All-Star Game with a 10-5 victory over the Central. Sidney Crosby was named the NHL All-Star MVP. He had 8 points, I believe. Yeah, 8 points in the tournament. He's only been selected to 8 All-Star teams in his 14 seasons, believe it or not. He's barely played in them. This is one of the things he's never won. And it's actually kind of funny when he hit the ice in San Jose, him and Chris Letang and Marc-Andre Fleury of the Vegas Golden Knights, they were all booed. Because if you remember, Penguins Stanley Cup in 2016, they won in San Jose. So I can kind of see why they weren't really liked in San Jose. I'm sure San Jose loved the All-Star game, loved having all the players there. They booed Drew. They heckled Drew Doughty to like a lot. They gave it to John Gibson when he was losing in their game. They gave it to John Tavares because the San Jose Sharks were one of the teams that John Tavares was talking to during the offseason before he decided to come home and sign with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And they kind of booed him. Tavares took it with a laugh. If you were watching, of course, the skill competition, Matthews wore a Patrick Marleau jersey underneath his Matthews jersey and unveiled it, and as a kind of an homage to his Toronto dad, which is what he kind of like, I don't know. It's a father-son relationship between him and Patty. Of course, Patrick is a really good hockey player, but not good enough for the All-Star game. And it would have been nice to see him in the All-Star game somehow, but it's kind of a nice homage to someone who has played almost his entire career in San Jose and really made San Jose what it is today. Like, he was there for, I believe, almost 20 years. Never won a Stanley Cup there. Made it to a Cup Finals, of course, but is their franchise leader in points. So I could see he'll probably go down. Might get put in the rafters. I don't know. That's not that long away. But another thing with the San Jose Sharks is there's no timetable for Erik Karlsson on his contract negotiations. Of course, Karlsson was shut down before the All-Star break with an injury. Just try to keep him nice and fresh, kind of like what the Raptors are doing with Kawhi Leonard. Except that the Raptors call it load management, which doesn't sound great to say out loud, but that's what they're calling it. It's what they're doing with Erik Karlsson here. The Sharks, of course, would love to have him, although they also have Joe Thornton and Joe Pavelski coming off of expiring contracts. And Timo Meier is playing on his final season of the entry-level deal. He's having a great season for the Sharks this year. So they could try to get Karlsson. I can't imagine it. The one team, I was thinking about this the other night, because I wasn't doing homework. I should have, but I was thinking, well, let's think of anything else on Cap Friendly. And a team, this is kind of a dark horse. This is just my opinion. Watch out for the Colorado Avalanche. They've got a lot of cap space. Don't have a lot of people they got to re-sign. Now, I don't know if they have an internal cap or not, but they could be a team in the running for Karlsson or Joe Pavelski. There's a lot of good free agents out this year. Wayne Simmons, he's getting older and he plays a tough style of hockey, but it's going to be an interesting offseason. That's for sure. The Leafs and Matthews have made progress on an extension. It kind of sounds like, from what I've heard from TSN, I'm not trying to act like I work for TSN, what I've heard on like their shows and from their guys and from everywhere is that it sounds like it's any day, kind of with Austin Matthews, like that they want to get him signed before the trade deadline. Excuse me, sorry. So they can figure out what they're going to do with the deadline, how much money they can spend, this and that. And we'll just get into it now. Of course, yeah. No, okay. Last week we kind of gave it to Peter Chiarelli. Felt a little bad afterwards. I'm sure he got it from I know he got it from every major sports network. He didn't really need some kid on his radio show in Peterborough giving it to him. I'm sure he never heard it. Well, who knows? Maybe he's one of the views on YouTube, but maybe he. Yeah, it's too bad for Peter Chiarelli. Well, he did it to himself. You can't trade Taylor Hall, Jordan Eberle, and not get a good enough return back and expect to stay. You can't miss the playoffs with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, who's good, kind of gets overlooked. I think he's overrated. That makes no sense, but I think he's overrated. But I feel like the way people rate him then, if they don't rate him high, is too low. He can't carry a team, which is the thing. Can't carry a line. Has to play with Connor McDavid, which if you're going to pay a guy that much money, he really shouldn't have to play with your best player. But so who knows where the Oilers are going now? Are they going to go into a rebuild? Or are they just going to kind of retool or just be mediocre? They have $6.5 million in cap spaces off season, but that doesn't include re-signing Puljujarvi, Ty Rattie, Tobias Ryder, Alex Chiasson or Alex Petrovic, who have been having good seasons for the Oilers. And then the next summer, they would have to re-sign Ryan Spooner, Zach Kassian, Kyle Brodziak, and Brandon Manning. And Darnell Nurse will be due for an extension. So they don't have a lot of money to spend coming up. I'm sure the moment it was signed, they're kind of regretting the Milan Lucic contract. That huge contract that's never going to go away. Never. You're going to be hard-pressed to find a team that's going to take that. without you having to retain a whole bunch of it. And just there's a lot of things going against Peter Chiarelli. The words he said, and the Mikko Koskinen signing right before he got fired. Bob Nicholson, the president of hockey operations. Excuse me, sorry. I try to fight the yawns every day. I don't know what's going on. Sorry. Bob Nicholson, the president of hockey operations there now, says that the signing was kind of just Chiarelli, whereas Chiarelli has said, well, it was a group effort. Kind of weird to look at that it's like that. I don't know who you can blame this on, whether it's Chiarelli, whether it's management, or upper management. It sounds like there's a lot of influence from the owner, not Eric Kratz. Kratz is his last name. I should know his first name. But you can't blame it all on Peter Chiarelli if he's being told this is what he has to do for ownership. Because ownership pays the books, literally. I don't know. I gave it to Peter Chiarelli, and I'm sure, and I know a lot of people have, and it's kind of unfair because it's beginning to look like it wasn't his fault. But he's the one that made the trades. He's the one that's out in Edmonton, and you can't cry over spilled milk. I don't know. That's all I'm gonna. There's not much more to say on the Peter Chiarelli thing. The Leafs last night, of course, if you were paying attention to the NHL networks, there was a couple games on last night, but I believe, Jets and Flyers were playing last night. Jets and Flyers, and right, what? Okay, the Leafs traded for Jake Muzzin. I'm getting off top. I'm tough morning. The Leafs traded for Jake Muzzin from the Los Angeles Kings in exchange for forward Carl Grundstrom, the rights to defenseman Sean Durzi, and Toronto's first-round pick in 2019. This is a big trade for the Toronto Maple Leafs, who get a defenseman that is an immediate boost to their back end. He'll play with Morgan Riley. That puts Ron Hainsey down with Travis Dermott. Leaves Gardner Zaitsev and pushes Igor Oshiganov out of the lineup. Of course, Muzzin is on a 1 year. He has 1 year after this season on his contract at a $4 million cap hit. He has 4 goals and 17 assists this season. He put up 42 points last season. Carl Grundstrom was a second-round pick of the Leafs in 2016. He had 29 points in 42 games with the Marlies. Sean Durzi was taken 52nd overall in last year's draft. He's put up 8 goals and 28 points in 26 games with the Owen Sound Attack and Guelph Storm. He was supposed to be drafted in 2017 and didn't, and kind of like there was some video or something online I saw about him talking about it and how he wanted to get drafted. And he was a good player. He is a good player. Or he projects to be an all right player. And it was emotional that he didn't get drafted. Of course, if you've worked your whole life, as many players have, and just don't get drafted, it's a huge blow to the confidence. If you've done nothing but hockey and then you can't do any more hockey, it would scare you. And then he ended up getting drafted by the Leafs in 2018. Of course, he's from the Toronto area, so he's loved the Leafs growing up. Same as Jake Muzzin, actually. Excuse me. Sorry, this is terrible. Last night was the whole thing where Jake Muzzin was saying, yeah, I was a fan of Toronto growing up. It's crazy how you come back home here and you get to experience it all over again. Kind of like the same thing John Tavares did coming home. I don't think Jake Muzzin had any Leafs, didn't have a Leaf bed set, but he was still a huge fan of Toronto growing up. And if you've seen the guy, he's got a nice beard. So that kind of adds something to the Toronto Maple Leafs, who haven't had a beard on the team in a while. It will change up the decor because he is a left-handed shot. It'll put in the Leafs top 6. It'll only have one right-handed shot, which is Nikita Zaitsev. Muzzin is a penalty killer. He eats minutes. Strong possession numbers. The way it was described to me online was that he is like Jake Gardner. He's less offensively gifted, but he's better defensively. He will still give up the puck up. You will have nights where you'll go, come on, Jake. Come on, Muzzin. What are you doing? Kind of like people have Jake Gardner now, and kind of over-exaggerate it. But that Jake Muzzin is like Jake Gardiner but better. And that's what the Leafs need right now, especially with Jake Gardiner's contract up at the end of this season. He's most likely going to go to free agency. Now, the Leafs cap friendly is a little sticky, I'll say. I'd never really worried about it before because they had the room. Now, there's not as much room. Jake Gardiner, of course, will probably just leave or probably won't be re-signed. Ron Hainsey is out the door. They do have young guys coming up in Liljegren and Rasmus Sandin. So it's going to be a young defensive core next year. But that's next year. And of course, they've got Muzzin for next year as well. It's a pretty good deal, I think, for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They got a defenseman that they need. And they acquired him 4 weeks before the trade deadline. So, one, you're taking away a trade chip for other teams that you're going to play against to get. Whether it's a team like Boston, like someone that needs a defenseman. I don't know if Boston needs a defenseman. I just pulled their name out of a hat. But now it's Dougie Hamilton is the only other defenseman available that's as big as Jake Muzzin. You get him 4 weeks early. He gets to practice with the team. That's another 4 weeks to practice. The month of March, Darren Dreger said it last night, or Pierre LeBrun, that there's not a lot of time to practice with the team in March, so you don't get accustomed to the team. And if he can get that extra chemistry in a month before the trade deadline, the Leafs are set up even better. Now, I don't know if they're going to make another deal for a defenseman. I don't know where he would slot in to that top six. I know there's talks of sending out Nikita Zaitsev. Radko Gudas is a name that comes up from the Philadelphia Flyers. You might know him. He has his dirty moment. He has his red mist moment, is how it's described. Kind of like Nazem Kadri does, where he gets kind of like fired up and just attacks people, loses his mind. But there's a lot to happen still with the Toronto Maple Leafs and the entire NHL. I know every year it comes up that this is going to be the year where the trade deadline is going to be busy, and then it's not. I feel bad for all the analysts on TV during the trade deadline because they all just sit around, and if there's like one trade, that trade is talked about for 20 minutes, and then they like kind of mull about talking about what's going to happen, what's happened in past years. TSN's getting gimmicky with it. I don't mind it. It's kind of funny to watch. I remember we had a snow day one year on trade deadline day, and that was like the best. I just sat in front of the TV the whole day. There was maybe 10 trades, and none of them were huge, I don't think. But it was just fun to watch because you got to experience something that you never would have before. There's some funny stories like that. Like everyone remembers July 1st this year when John Tavares signed. I remember I was working that morning, came home, worked early, started at like 4, worked till 11, got home, and was sitting in front of a TV, and it hit like noon. And I was like, all right, is anything going to happen? I pulled up Sportsnet, was watching it, shout out Sportsnet. I was watching Steve Dangle. He had a live stream. Of course, we've played Steve Dangle clips here on air. He's the YouTuber, the Leafs fan reaction guy. He yells a lot on his podcast. He yells a lot on his LFRs. Has his own podcast, the Steve Dangle podcast. Just a great Leafs guy. Kind of a blog. He started out doing YouTube and is now with the Sportsnet station. Does Puck Talk, not Puck Talk. It's on Twitter. Ice is something. Sorry. Anyways, watching his live stream, and all of a sudden, Elliot Friedman just pops up and goes, "Tavares Leafs 8 years, $11 million." And they just kept talking, and it's kind of like, what just happened? What are you saying now? What are you saying there, Brooksy? And then Friedge goes, "Yep, it's confirmed. John Tavares to the Toronto Maple Leafs, 8 years, $11 million." And I remember sitting there, I looked at my dad, I was like, wow, that's massive. And Dad was like, "Oh, what does that mean?" Not knowing who John Tavares is. Why would he? He doesn't watch a lot of hockey. I was like, this is the biggest free agent signing in, I would say, NHL history. I can't say other sports. I know the MLB has some huge free agent signings. We're waiting on some huge free agent signings with Bryce Harper and Manny Machado. We'll get to that in a bit, but I know it's so condescending. It's so like, do you remember where you were? Well, I remember where I was when John Tavares signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs, decided he was coming home, and I probably won't forget it. It's just a story that's cool to tell. Of course, I remember when where I was when the Leafs were eliminated from the playoffs the past 2 years, watching the games. So, it's kind of like bittersweet both ways. So, yeah, we'll see how Tavares does in his first playoffs. Kind of got off topic there, but it should be an interesting trade deadline, that's for sure. But the more important thing this weekend, I shouldn't say more important, more pressing thing this weekend is the Super Bowl. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's a big bowl. It's full of your favorite food, and you eat it. And there's a football game too. There's some commercials that everyone loves to watch, and there's a football game if you want to watch it. The Super Bowl this year, of course, will have the New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Rams. If you watch the AFC and NFC Championship, not this past weekend, but the weekend before, huge games. Huge to watch. Both went to overtime. Of course, the New Orleans game, New Orleans Saints and Los Angeles Rams, the officials could have called pass interference or helmet-to-helmet contact on a play with a minute 45 left in the tied game on the Rams' 10-yard line. They didn't, though. It was right in front of two officials, and they never pulled out their flags. It just looks bad on the league. The Rams ended up winning it with a field goal to win 26-23. And, it's for the New Orleans, it's a tough time right now. They should have won that game. They would have won that game with the pass interference call there. They would have just kicked it for a field goal or got a touchdown in and won in overtime. And that would have been it. It would have been Drew Brees in the Super Bowl. Now it's Jared Goff and the Los Angeles Rams. A lot of people calling for the league to replay the play. I don't know how that happens. It's not going to happen. I want to make that very clear. They brought a lawyer in to try to sue the league to make it happen. Again, it's not going to happen. There's no way you can make a team replay that play. It's over. It's happened. The league's apologized for it and said, yeah, we screwed up. But they can't do anything else. And there's nothing they should have to do because you made a mistake, and refs make a mistake all the time. If it really upsets you, go to robot refs. I know that's what they're talking about in the MLB with misses balls and strikes. But you're never going to replace that human eye. And it happens. And it's going to be a story for the rest of the season and probably in the next. If the Saints don't play as well next year, it'll be, we would have made it to the Super Bowl last year and probably would have won. That's what they would say. In the other side, it was the New England Patriots defeating the Kansas City Chiefs 37-31. Tom Brady had an amazing game. Patrick Mahomes had an amazing game. Both teams just played amazing. Both quarterbacks played amazing. And it kind of looks like it shows that Mahomes maybe should be getting MVP this year. He's played amazing for the Chiefs. I would say he's the main reason they got there. Of course, it came down to overtime in the fourth quarter. The teams traded scores to send it to overtime. Kansas City kicking a final field goal to make it send it to overtime officially. And then in the overtime, Tom Brady won the coin flip, or the Patriots won the coin flip, I should say. And Tom Brady just took the ball and ran it down the field and scored. And great game. I watched it. It was amazing. Now, if you're not a Tom Brady fan, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, the Patriots are a dynasty. They're one of I would say, the greatest sports dynasty of all time. I know Montreal Canadiens fans are going to freak out about that. That was a long time ago. Get over it. I'm talking North American dynasty. I don't really follow your soccer. I don't know. But I would say the Patriots, just how they've dominated. Tom Brady is the greatest football player of all time. I don't know how he couldn't be. And we are witnessing greatness in the New England Patriots. And it's going to be if he wins the Super Bowl this year, he will have the most Super Bowls of the entire NFL. Steelers right now have the most, he'll be tied with the Steelers, sorry. Steelers have the most right now by one. He would be tied with the Steelers. Let me rephrase that. He has more Super Bowl appearances than everybody else. That's what it is. Excuse me. It'll be an interesting game. Of course, the Steelers and the Rams. It's looking up to be a really good game. Tom Brady has come out and said before, because this is the NFL media day, is the past couple of days, and I think they might still have it. They might still have a couple more days about it. But Tom Brady has come out and said 0% chance that this is his final game. Now, maybe he's just being cheeky, and if he wins, he retires. Maybe he's not gonna. I remember last year we talked about it on air about Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski retiring, and I wonder this year if it's even more true for Rob. He hasn't played as well as he has. He's had a different role now. He's more of a blocking tight end than he is a receiving tight end, although he had an amazing game against the Chiefs. He had an amazing overtime and fourth quarter. Him and Edelman were the go-to guys for Brady. It's just going to be a good Super Bowl. Of course, it is. Kickoff is 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday. It is in Atlanta, home of the Falcons. There are many storylines in the game. The simplest is it's the Rams versus like the greatest of all times. Sean McVay, the Rams head coach, is 34, and the 24-year-old quarterback Jared Goff, third year as a pro, against the old. No, I shouldn't say old. He's built up Bill Belichick, the age of 66, and Tom Brady, the age of 41. They're both geniuses. Of course, greatest dynasty. The Rams, the franchise of the Rams have won the Super Bowl in the 1999 season against the Tennessee Titans. Patriots, of course, have won 5 Super Bowls, all with Brady and Belichick. And if you remember back in 2002, Brady's first championship came against who? The Rams. So who knows what that means? The halftime show will be Maroon 5 with guest Travis Scott and Big Boy. Sure. Georgia-born Empress of Soul, Gladys Knight, will perform the anthem. You can watch on CBS. Jim Nantz will do play-by-play with Tony Romo, who's the guy that calls all the plays before they happen. It should be a good... I would say it's a good Super Bowl. I'm excited for it. I know I'm going to watch it. It's a good chance to get with friends and watch the game and just enjoy yourself. Get some junk food. I don't know. Watch the game. Watch the commercials. I know it's a huge thing for a lot of people that aren't into football. And that's all right, too. The commercials are I would say they're like a TV show or movie in themselves that they're a part of the whole experience. Watching the commercials and seeing what's going on. Last year, of course, was the huge It's Not a Tide ad thing. It'll be interesting to see what Budweiser does with the Clydesdales and Bud Light and Ford, Dodge, all of these big brands that always advertise during the Super Bowl. Just makes it what it is. That's what it is to me. Of course, there's lots of prop bets you can get for the Super Bowl. It always funny. Will the opening coin toss land heads or tails? Will the length of the national anthem exceed 1:50 seconds? What will the anthem singer wear? Will Bill Belichick or Sean McVay be shown on... Who will be shown first on TV during the anthem? I'm just reading a bunch through here. If the lady who's singing the person who is singing the national anthem has the mic on the stand, off the stand, or has a headset, what song will Maroon 5 open with? Will Adam Levine wear leather jackets? Will any performer fall down? Will Adam Levine kneel? It's all these. Will there be a flea flicker in the game? Who will the MVP mention first in the post-game speech? Will the Super Bowl record of 75 points be broken? And then you can bet on the color of the liquid poured on the winning coach. Mentioning the age gap between Jared Goff, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, McVay. Will CBS show the Saints-Rams pass interference? And will they show Tom Brady's wife, Giselle, on the live broadcast? Kind of funny. I find them all pretty funny. It's another thing to add to the experience. If you're into betting, that's great. If you're not, it doesn't matter. They're just cool to look at for me, at least. I don't know. That's just me. But like I said, it's going to be a great game. Watch it with friends. Watch it with family. Go to a bar and watch it. Just enjoy it, because it has become a icon and a pastime for people that aren't always into football. You don't have to be into football to watch it, I think. You can just enjoy it for what it is, and it's just a good time. Watching a really good sport. If you're not into football, don't watch it. Watch the commercials. But that's all I'm going to say on that. Who am I cheering for? Because you're asking, I know. Part of me wants to see the Rams win, just so Tom Brady doesn't win. Steelers fans can't really cheer for Tom Brady, but it's just the story of Tom Brady. It's just too good. It just cements legacies that are already cemented. But it's going to be, either way, I'm kind of happy with the results. I just hope there's no egregious non-calls that cost, like, that really screw it up, like there is with the NFC Championship. Like, I just don't want anything to happen like that, where it's like we got the Super Bowl stolen from us. This team should have won, but the refs decided that they should decide who wins. That's not what I'm looking for. That's what I would hate. That's the one outcome I would hate, as I'm sure a lot of fans would. But we're gonna go to a quick break here for your sports break. The weather outside is still a -4. We're gonna play "Stick Out the Door" by Smitty Kingston. Of course, it's about the Humboldt Broncos. Just kind of local homage to smaller artists and a good song for a good cause. So we'll be right back here. "Stick Out the Door" by Smitty Kingston.
This whole tragedy with Humboldt, Saskatchewan. I grew up playing hockey my entire life.
Left a stick out on the front step and signed all your names. Turned the porch light on just in case you wanted one more game. There's no referees or scoreboards, the periods never end. Use the clouds as an ice rink while you play with all your friends. Hey, Mom and Dad, well, I made it to the show. You always told me that I would, so don't you worry anymore. I've got my teammates by my side. You don't have to cry. Just promise me one last thing, you'll leave the light on. Put my stick out by the door. Well, all the hotel hallway games we played were slap shot on the bus. There wasn't anything in this world that meant that much to us. Use your tears to flood the ice and your prayers to keep us warm. Well, this won't be our last game, yeah, we're still Humboldt strong. Well, hey, Mom and Dad, well, I made it to the show. You always told me that I would, so don't you worry anymore. I've got my teammates by my side, so you don't have to cry. Well, just promise me one last thing, you'll leave the light on. Put my stick out by the door. Hey, Mom and Dad, well, I made it to the show. You always told me that I would, so don't you worry anymore. I've got my teammates by my side, so you don't have to cry. Well, just promise me one last thing, you'll leave the light on. Put my stick out by the door. Just promise that you'll leave the light on. Put my stick out by the door.
We are back here, ladies and gentlemen, for your Sports Break, broadcasting here on 92.7 C Triple FM here in Peterborough, Canada. This show, of course, can be streamed online at trentradio.ca, or, like I said, you can follow what we're talking about on Twitter at SportsBreakTR. The weather outside today is still -4, bit of a wind chill, -11, a little bit of light snow, nothing too crazy. We talked about it a bit at the beginning, or towards the end, of last week's show, of the MLB Major League Baseball Hall of Fame induction. And last Tuesday night, they announced who exactly would be going into the Hall of Fame this year. Roy Halladay and Mariano Rivera. First years on the ballot. And luckily enough for them, they made it on their first year on the ballot. Mariano Rivera, of course, the closer for the New York Yankees, became The MLB record holder for the most saves of all time has become the first unanimous voted player into the MLB Hall of Fame. He received 425 votes, of course, getting 100%. Roy Halladay was inducted in with an 85.4% vote. On his first ballot, of course, he was the ace for the Toronto Blue Jays coming up. Won a Cy Young for the Toronto Blue Jays, won a Cy Young for the Philadelphia Phillies, threw a no-hitter for the Phillies, and a perfect game for the Phillies in the playoffs. He was a workhorse, holds the active record, has the most complete games in the past, I believe, 20 years of all MLB players, of all MLB pitchers, of course. But great for the city of Toronto and the city of Philadelphia. Of course, never played in the playoffs in Toronto, never had a good enough team around him. That's why he went to Philadelphia. Edgar Martinez, the designated hitter for the Seattle Mariners, got in on his 10th and final ballot. I believe you only get 10 at 85.4%. And Mike Muzzin, the pitcher for the Baltimore Orioles and New York Yankees, won a World Series with the Yankees, made it in on his 6th ballot with a 76.7% voting. The induction ceremony takes place on Sunday, July 21st. But there's still players that didn't get in. Kurt Schilling had a 60.9%. Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds, of course. The steroid players that aren't going to get in. A couple guys fell off the ballot that you might know the name of: Miguel Tejada, Andy Pettitte, Andrew Jones, Michael Young, Lance Berkman, Roy Oswalt. These guys fell off because they didn't reach the 15% that you must stay on in your first year. Roy Halladay, of course, if you were a Blue Jays fan growing up. I never got to see much of Roy Halladay. I was too young. And didn't care enough about baseball until I was too old, or he was gone from Toronto and from Philly, actually. By the time I started caring about baseball a lot, he was out of the league. Of course, he had his playoff success in Philadelphia, but was known for being in Toronto. He said in an interview once, I think everyone knows where this is going, that he wanted to go into the Baseball Hall of Fame as a Toronto Blue Jay. Well, Brandy Halladay, Roy Halladay's wife, made a family decision. The family decided, I shouldn't just say her, that Roy will not go in with any logo on his hat in Cooperstown. He will instead go in with a blank cap, playing an homage to baseball instead of to the Philadelphia Phillies or the Toronto Blue Jays, saying that she believes that's what she says. This is the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. It's not the Phillies Hall of Fame. It's not the Blue Jays Hall of Fame. Roy is going in as a Major League Baseball player, and I think that's important, and that's what he is. And end quote. A lot of fans freaked out online. I kind of was upset. I would have loved to see him go in as a Blue Jay, because they have one. We have one Blue Jay in Robbie Alomar in the Baseball Hall of Fame. I keep trying to say the Hockey Hall of Fame. It just would have been nice to have another Blue Jay in there, because it doesn't look like there's going to be any coming up. There's maybe Dave Stieb, Jack Morris. Jack Morris didn't go in as a Blue Jay, but Dave Stieb going in maybe as a Blue Jay. But Halladay will be he's far from the first, Hall of Famer to sport a blank cap. Greg Maddux has one, Tony La Russa, and also Mike Muzzin, who's going in this season, has decided instead of going in with Baltimore or the Yankees, he's going to go in with neither. And it just kind of pays homage to both teams, saying, I loved my time for both teams. Enjoyed both playing times. And just kind of like, I liked both experiences a lot. And yeah, of course, in 2016, he signed a one-day contract to retire as a Blue Jay, stating that he wanted to retire as a Blue Jay. At the time of his death, he was employed by the Phillies as a mental skills coach. Of course, this past offseason, the Blue Jays put this opening day, they put his number into the level of excellence, his 32, while the Phillies inducted Halladay into the Wall of Fame last summer. It was an amazing, I think I talked about it on air here. It was an amazing experience opening day to see Halladay up on the level of excellence, to see his number retired from the Toronto Blue Jays. I know it meant a lot to his family. It meant a lot to the fans there. Would the fans maybe be different because he's no longer going in on the team? I could see that maybe. But he's still Roy Halladay. He's still the pitcher he was still what he was for the Toronto Blue Jays. And if people can't look past that, I can't help you. He will still always be a Toronto Blue Jay. It doesn't have it on the logo. And I hope people don't give it to the family much more than they have already. Like, I think enough is enough. And I hope they don't do anything like try to stick a logo. I don't know if you can touch the plaques in Cooperstown. I don't remember. I've never been. Through photos, I don't know if you could get close enough. I hope no one tries to put a Blue Jay logo or a Philly logo on it. Because I could see someone doing that. That's just how people are nowadays. In the MLB, though, the World Series champion, Jared Saltalamacchia, former Toronto Blue Jay, former Texas Ranger, former Atlanta Brave, former Boston Red Sox, former Miami Marlin, has decided to call it a career. He's going to retire after 12 Major League seasons. He's only 33. He was an integral part in the 2013 World Series as a Red Sox backstop catcher. He also played for Detroit. Did I get all the teams? And the Arizona Diamondbacks, yeah. He played for a lot of teams. Of course, everyone remembers Saltalamacchia. His name it was huge. I don't even know how many letters that is, and I'm not going to count on air because that makes bad radio. I'm almost done, though. 7, 10, 14 letters, right? Yeah, 14 letters. His name had to be Cirque. It was like a U, I'll say, on the back of his jersey. Terrible player for the Blue Jays. It was not a good on the Blue Jays at all. It was kind of painful to watch, actually, on the Toronto Blue Jays, but still a player that won a World Series, was a huge part of the Red Sox. He had long hair. He played an MLB career, 12 years. Congratulations, Salty. Enjoy the offseason. The Seattle Mariners re-signed Ichiro Suzuki to a minor league deal. The 45-year-old will earn $750,000 if he makes Seattle's major league roster. Of course, he played last year for the Mariners, but only played 15 games and ended up becoming a special assistant role with the team. Seattle later announced its intention to let the veteran play in its March series in Japan, where Suzuki starred before joining the MLB. Hopefully he can play. It's Ichiro. Who doesn't want to see Ichiro in baseball? Baseball without Ichiro is worse. It's just a great experience for all the fans, anyone that gets to watch Ichiro. I don't think I have. I would love to someday watch Ichiro, but I think I'm kind of running out of time. Same with Bartolo Colon. I've never seen Bartolo Colon pitch. It's all the older guys. Albert Pujols, all these older guys you haven't get to see to play. I was thinking about it this morning, actually. It's kind of philosophical, but what have I seen? You think about. It's a cool thing to think about, actually. Try it. What greatness or interesting moments you've seen in sports? Because I'm sure people have seen moments that didn't seem relevant at the time, or it was kind of cool at the time, but it's amazing. I think back to this summer, I saw Rowdy Tellez's first home run as a Toronto Blue Jay. First home run, blank, in the major leagues. And it was an amazing scene to see. I saw opening day, them retire Roy Halladay's number in the level of excellence. But I couldn't think of anything else, and maybe there'll be more moments, but you could always think back and try to remember, because that's the reason you go back. I mean, to watch the games is cool and all, but it's those little experiences that just make it all what it is, and make it that much better, make sports that definable and that enjoyable. For me, at least. I don't know. Maybe it's too philosophical. For 9:49 Tuesday morning, we're running low on time here on Sports Break. The Los Angeles Dodgers this past week signed AJ Pollock to a 4-year contract. He will earn $55 million in the first 4 seasons. Whatever that adds up, he will receive a $12 million signing bonus. Of course, the Dodgers traded Yasiel Puig and Matt Kemp to the Cincinnati Reds. It was kind of in the move to get Bryce Harper. The Dodgers outfield has a mix of Cody Bellinger, Jock Pederson, Chris Taylor, Enrique Hernandez, and Alex Verdugo, and now AJ Pollock. Of course, Pollock has never had a healthy season as long as he's been in the majors. So we'll have to see how that goes. What this means for the Dodgers now, there's a good chance Bryce is not going to sign with the LA Dodgers now, which is too bad. Jock Peterson, I'll call it Peterson, it's a lot easier, might be out. But there's also talks of the Los Angeles Dodgers bringing in JT Realmuto, bringing in a catcher to have with Russell Martin. And his deal, AJ Pollock's, is the longest contract for a position player this offseason. Before him, no position player had signed for longer than 3 years. And pitchers Nathan Eovaldi and UC Kikuchi, signed deals for 4, and left-hander Patrick Corbin signed a 6-year deal. Otherwise, every free agent has, of course, been a shorter deal. Kind of a weird market this offseason, and it looks like that's how things are going to be from now on. And it's going to be... It's just a free agent market. I don't know how else to describe it. It's kind of sad to see players aren't getting paid as much as they should be, or they did in the past, where you kind of like to see. But then again, there's guys like Miguel Cabrera and Albert Pujols that are making a crap ton of money and maybe don't deserve to. But hopefully it doesn't cause a lockout. That's what people are talking about in the MLB. Same with the NHL, which is kind of crappy. But with the free agents left, you could have a pretty good MLB team. You've got Manny Machado, Bryce Harper, Mike Moustakas, Carlos Gonzalez, Martin Maldonado, Josh Harris, like just a lot of names here. Starting rotation, Dallas Keuchel, Gio Gonzalez, a lot of lefties, Wade Miley. Your bench is even good. You've got Adam Jones, Matt Wieters, a lot of Orioles there. And your bullpen, of course, you've got Craig Kimbrell, Greg Holland. Good team. Sean Kelly, of course, just signed with the New York Rangers, 1 year, $2.75 million. It's a weird offseason, and I'm hoping these guys sign soon, because you never want to see someone not have a job, especially when there's these guys that you pay to watch and you've grown up watching. You hope that they get a job. Of course, this season, I believe we talked about it. We should have. Adrian Beltre is calling it quits. He's no longer going to play. The Texas Rangers are going to retire his number 29 this season. The date for the decision wasn't revealed by the club. However, the announcement could happen in June. He will join Ivan Rodriguez, Johnny Oates, Nolan Ryan, and Jackie Robinson as the only other players to have their numbers retired by the Texas Rangers. Great player. Everyone loves. To find a guy that hates Adrian Beltre, you find a guy that hates fun and hates happiness. That's pretty much how I describe it. I don't know. He was a joy to watch. It's tough to see him go. Another guy tough to see go is Marco Estrada, who has signed with the Oakland Athletics, 1-year deal. It's a $4 million contract. He has played great. He was great for the Blue Jays. He was amazing in the playoffs for the Blue Jays. They called him Ace Strada. In 10 career playoff games, he had a 2.64 ERA. He was the reason they performed. They made it to the 2015 trade deadline where they got Troy Tulowitzki and David Price. It was Marco Estrada who did that. Well, and Josh Donaldson, but mostly Marco Estrada. He had 2 affected. 2015, 2016, he was amazing. 2017, didn't perform well, had personal issues off the field, whatever. That's no fault to him. Well, okay, it happens, whatever happens. And then 2018, he had a back injury and just didn't he had a back injury the whole time as a Toronto Blue Jay, but he just didn't perform to his standards. And now he's with the Oakland Athletics. Back injuries, feeling fine, is the report. And you wish him all the well. It's Marco Estrada. He played amazing for the Blue Jays. He's moving on to his 3rd team now of his MLB career, and you just hope he'll do well. That's all I can say. The Blue Jays, of course, have other players to focus on right now. One is Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who received an invite to MLB spring training camp alongside Bo Bichette and Gavin Biggio, each the son of a former major leaguer. Of course, Guerrero comes with a lot of fanfare. He ended the 2018 season as MLB Pipeline's top overall prospect and had an amazing minor league career through 2018. Across the 4 levels, he slashed a .381 batting average, 20 home runs, 20 home runs, 29 doubles, and 78 RBIs in 95 games. Bichette, who is 20, isn't far behind. He's the baseball's 11th ranked prospect. And Biggio was not considered a top 100 prospect, but a lot of people are saying that he has a chance to be a really good MLB player and has a chance to be on the Blue Jays roster at the end of this season or the beginning of next season. When I say next season, I mean 2020. So I can't wait. Young things are coming for the Toronto Blue Jays. Good things are coming for the Toronto Blue Jays. And if you're the Blue Jays fans, all I'm going to say is look towards the future, because this season might suck, but we're going to see a lot of good baseball players and a lot of good young baseball players play, and just enjoy it. I know it's going to suck to watch a team lose. Think of the future. But that is all the time we have today for your Sports Break, broadcast on 92.7C Triple FM through the facilities here at Trent Radio in the beautiful, beautiful Peterborough, Canada. If you've missed previous shows, you can catch up on Twitter at SportsBreakTR. We'll be back next Tuesday at 9 a.m. for another show where we'll talk about the NHL season, Toronto Maple Leafs, the Super Bowl, and the MLB offseason. There are only 14 days until pitchers and catchers report for spring training. Oh, it can't come soon enough. As always, ladies and gentlemen, remember to check both your smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. It's not the season for an incident with those. Just check your smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. And have a great day.